Marco Polo. Maybe she'll be able to come in today, but she was talking about holding herself through those hard times as well. And so I thought maybe I would start with that a little bit of a conversation. Um, well, actually, I didn't think that. I'm thinking it right now. It's coming out of my mouth, and we're all watching it happen. Um, but being able to, I think that we get to talk about now that we've moved into 13, and sorry, I've got a hair in my mouth. Now that we've moved into gate 13, and this energy of the listener and what we're listening. Body with your heart. It's not necessarily about hearing, it's about sensing the frequency that is around you and hearing from that perspective. This is what gate 13 is. It is a body listening. It is a no frequency and energy. And when we enable ourselves to listen to the environment, like Raylan was saying, you know, she has this regulated system during the week, and then husband comes home and it's watching what it is and finding the love and the value in it. Shay was talking about today, she was on the Marco Polo talking about this week and how she had there was an emotional release workshop that she went to, and one of the participants was feeling what she perceived as anger and then later revealed as hatred. One of the participants was having an experience of hatred, of pure angry hatred, and Shay was having a very hard time being in the realm, just being alive and continuing to listen to it without moving into her coping skills of shutting down, of thinking about something else, of judging, of, you know, all of the things we do to stop listening. And so part of being a wisdom keeper or a shaman or any wise person will tell you that they listen with their body, not necessarily their ears. It's never about listening with our ears. It's about listening to with our eyes, listening to the change in the tempo of the voice. It's listening. And what are we listening for? This is what I want to talk about. Because some spiritual teachers will talk about we're listening to everything and seeing what it shows us. And I do believe that first, that's the first step. We've got to learn to listen to everything that there is. We've got to learn to allow all of the frequency in our body. But then, who here has had the experience of hearing someone's voice and knowing you had business with them? That's the listening that I'm talking about. That's discernment. So once we are able to listen with our whole bodies and we are able to allow, welcome Shayla, welcome Carly. I just want to catch you guys up. Shay, we were just talking about your experience a bit, and we were talking about this gate 13 and the energy of listening. And so I'm going to ask you to pour in after I'm finished on this little ramble, but gate 13 is the energy that we are all swimming within right now. And this energy is inviting us to listen. And so I wanted to cultivate a little bit about what listening really meant in this context, because this gate 13 is a space in the G center. This is our center for direction. This is where our soul lives. And this is where gate 13 lives. And gate 13 is about listening to the truth of why our soul is in this body and moving into that direction. And gate 13, what most of the spiritual teachers have taught us in this vein is that we surrender to everything and we listen to everything and we see what it has to teach us. This is the way most of our teachings are taught these days. I want to take that a step further. And as a wisdom keeper, I believe it is about listening to hear where your response is, where your invitation is, where your impact is, where your surprise is. It's about listening to hear the authority of your body in the movement and resonance with that energy. So what I was just saying was I asked everybody who has had the experience in the past of hearing someone's voice and knowing you had business with them in one way or another. We've all been there where we've just heard or been in the vicinity of someone and knew that there was business. This is gate 13 in action. When I say listening, I'm not saying listen with your brain so that you can try to listen to what's happening and understand it and put in compartments. That's not gate 13 listening. Gate 13 listening is allowing the frequency that exists in the field to move in and out of your body without resistance, like Shayla was doing at her emotional workshop, where then she felt the feelings of hatred and anger in her body, and where you could have put in some coping skills like judgment or thinking about something else or leaving the room or whatever it was, but your body was listening to that and there was dissonance. There was something for you to hear inside of your body because that frequency existed. And this is gate 13. This is, welcome to, we are now in, I think, oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're in line 3 now of gate 13. So we've been there for a couple of days. Who travels transits? I know we do.
It's the third. We're in the third line today.
It's the third line today. So we
Trial and error.
trial and error, what to listen to. And so this is about practicing discernment. And when you get the message, it doesn't mean you have to stay in the frequency. Here's the polishing a little bit of that surrender. Yes, listen to everything, but once you hear the message, move on, practice discernment. Gate 13 is in your G center. It's about direction. It's about movement. It's about where we've been and where we're going. And so it's inviting you, this energy this week, and for the last couple of days, has been inviting us all into listening to where we are, listening to the direction that we are in, listening with our bodies, not our minds to try to understand, but listening to what's happening and following the cues of your authority in your body into the direction that is for you. These energies are all inviting us and giving us opportunities to practice being ourselves, because we've had so much practice being somebody else than ourselves. This is practice being ourselves. So, okay, now that I'm in this situation and I'm feeling these elevated, I'm watching someone be angry, and I'm feeling whatever I'm feeling in my body, I let that feeling in, I get the message, and then I move. What sometimes we do, because we think that we must be martyrs, especially as female body people in this day and age, we think that we must stay. We think that, okay, that anger and that rage, that felt this in my body and my body said this, and now I must stay and hold the space because now I have the answer. That's not fucking true. You don't have to stay. If there is no energy in your body to continue staying in that space, we don't stay in that space. It doesn't matter if you have the wisdom that you think will help them or not. That doesn't matter. It's not about thinking that you must stay because now you've learned how to stay. You've just learned how to be there. And now you get to hear your body and where to move. That was a bit nebulous, and I'd love to hear some feedback if anybody has anything alive in them with this energy 13.
Yeah. Should I go?
Yeah, go ahead, Carly. And then and then Sandra and Shayla.
So I was actually 10 minutes late to class because I was having like a really intense journaling session, and I wrote a lot of this stuff like verbatim, like because I'm working through that whole communication with that guy. And tonight we have a session scheduled for me to practice active listening. And so it's just really cool to like feel all that. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. But this is helpful because I've been like trying to prepare myself to not overthink things tonight when I'm listening. So now, yeah, I can focus on being in my body. That's really helpful.
Beautiful. Let the unknown come. When you're listening, sometimes we listen with preconditions. We listen with framework for hearing something. This energy is about just listening to actually what exists. No framework, no preconditions. You're not listening for something. We're not even, we're just hearing what exists. Because when you have those preconditions, then you're only hearing what your brain thinks is the thing that you want to hear. So just like this, that's active, open